What's up, guys? Welcome to March 19th as we dive into Deuteronomy chapter 26. When you enter the land the Lord your God is giving you as a special possession, and you have conquered it and settled there, put some of the first production of produce from each crop you harvest into a basket and bring it to the designated place of worship, the place the Lord your God chooses for his name to be honored. Go to the priest in charge at that time and say to him, "With this gift I acknowledge the Lord your God, that I have entered the land he swore to our ancestors he would give us." The priest will then take the basket from your hand and set it before the altar of the Lord your God. You must then say in the presence of the Lord your God, "My ancestor Jacob was the wandering Aramean who went to live as a foreigner in Egypt. His family arrived few in number, but in Egypt they became a large and mighty nation. When the Egyptians oppressed and humiliated us by making us their slaves, we cried out to the Lord, the God of our ancestors. He heard our cries and saw our hardships, toil, and oppression. So the Lord brought us out of Egypt with a strong hand and powerful arm, with overwhelming terror and with miraculous signs and wonders. He brought us to this place and gave us this land flowing with milk and honey. And now, O Lord, I have brought you the first portion of the harvest you have given me from the ground." Then place the produce before the Lord your God and bow to the ground and worship before him. Afterward you may go and celebrate, because all of the good things the Lord your God has given you in your household. Remember to include the Levites and the foreigners living among you in the celebration. Every third year you must offer a special tithe of your crops. In this year of the special tithe, you must bring your little tithes to the Levites, foreigners, orphans, and widows, so that they may have enough to eat in your towns. Then you must declare in the presence of the Lord your God, "I have taken the sacred gift from my house and have given it to the Levites, foreigners, orphans, and widows, just as you commanded me. I have not violated or forgotten any of your commands. I have not eaten any of it while in mourning. I have not handled it while I was ceremonially unclean, and I have not offered any of it to the dead. I have obeyed the Lord my God, and have done everything he commanded me. Now look down from your holy dwelling place in heaven and bless your people Israel and the land you swore to our ancestors to give us, a land flowing with milk and honey. Today the Lord your God has commanded you to obey all these decrees and regulations, so be careful to obey them wholeheartedly. You have declared today that the Lord is your God, and you have promised to walk in his ways and to obey his decrees, commands, and regulations, and to do everything he tells you. The Lord has declared today that you are his people, his own special treasure, just as he promised, and that you must obey all his commands. And if you do, he will set you high above all the other nations he has made. Then you will receive praise, honor, and renown. You will be a nation that is holy to the Lord your God, just as he promised. Chapter 27. Then Moses and the leaders of Israel gave this charge to the people: "Obey all these commands that I am giving you today. When you cross the Jordan River and enter the land the Lord your God is giving you, set up some large stones and coat them with plaster. Write this whole body of instruction on them when you cross the river to enter the land your God is giving you, and a land flowing with milk and honey, just as the Lord your God, the God of your ancestors promised you. When you cross the Jordan, set up these stones at Mount Ebal and coat them with plaster, as I have commanded you today. Then build an altar there to the Lord your God using natural uncut stones. You must not shape the stones with an iron tool. Build the altar of uncut stone and use it to offer burnt offerings to the Lord your God. Also sacrifice peace offerings as well, and celebrate by feasting there before the Lord your God. You must clearly write all these instructions on the stone coated with plaster. Then Moses and the Levitical priest addressed all Israel as follows. O Israel, be quiet and listen. Today you have become the people of Israel, a people of the Lord your God. So you must obey the Lord your God by keeping all these commands and decrees that I am giving you today. That same day Moses also gave this charge to the people. When you cross the Jordan River, the tribes of Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, Joseph, and Benjamin must stand on Mount Gerizim to proclaim a blessing over the people, and the tribes of Reuben, Gad, Asher, Zebulun, Dan, and Naphtali must stand on Mount Ebal to proclaim a curse. Then the Levites will shout to all the people of Israel, "Cursed is anyone who carves or casts an idol and secretly sets it up. These idols, the work of craftsmen, are detestable to the Lord." And all the people will reply, "Amen." "Cursed is anyone who dishonors father or mother," and all the people will reply, "Amen." "Cursed is anyone who steals property from a neighbor by moving a boundary marker," and all the people will reply, "Amen." "Cursed is anyone who leads a blind person astray on the road," and all the people will reply, "Amen." "Cursed is anyone who denies justice to foreigners, orphans, and widows," and all the people will reply, "Amen." "Cursed is anyone who has sexual intercourse with one of his father's wives, for he has violated his father," and all the people will reply, "Amen." "Cursed is anyone who has sexual intercourse with an animal," and all the people will reply, "Amen." "Cursed is anyone who has sexual intercourse with his sister, whether she is the daughter of his wife, a daughter of his father, or his mother," and all the people will reply, "Amen." "Cursed is anyone who has sexual intercourse with his mother-in-law," and all the people will reply, "Amen." "Cursed is anyone who attacks a neighbor in secret," and all the people will reply, "Amen." "Cursed is anyone who accepts payment to kill an innocent person," and all the people will reply, "Amen." "Cursed is anyone who does not affirm and obey the terms of the instructions," and all the people will reply, "Amen." Chapter 28. If you fully obey the Lord your God and carefully keep all his commands that I am giving you today, the Lord your God will set you high above all the nations of the world. You will experience all these blessings if you obey the Lord your God. Your towns and your fields will be blessed. Your children and your crops will be blessed. The offspring of your herds and flocks will be blessed. Your fruit baskets and bread bowls will be blessed. Wherever you go and whatever you do, you will be blessed. The Lord will conquer your enemies when they attack you. They will attack you from one direction, but they will scatter from you in seven. The Lord will guarantee a blessing on everything you do, and you will fill your storehouse with grain. The Lord your God will bless you in the land he is giving you. If you obey the commands of the Lord your God and walk in his ways, the Lord will establish you as his holy people, as he swore he would do. Then all the nations of the world will see that you are a people claimed by the Lord, and he will stand in all of you. The Lord will give you prosperity in the land he swore to your ancestors to give you, blessing you with many children, numerous livestock, and abundant crops. The Lord will send rain to the proper time from his rich treasure in the heavens and will bless all the work you do. You will lend to many nations, but you will never need to borrow from them. If you listen to these instructions of the Lord your God that I am giving you today, and if you carefully obey them, the Lord will make you the head and not the tail, and you will always be on top and never at the bottom. You must not turn away from any of the commands I am giving you today, nor follow after other gods and worship them. Blessings. But if you refuse to listen to the Lord your God and do not obey all the commands and decrees I am giving you today, all the curses will come and overwhelm you. Your towns and your fields will be cursed. Your fruit baskets and bread bowls will be cursed. Your children and your crops will be cursed. The offspring of your herds and flock will be cursed. Wherever you go and whatever you do will be cursed. The Lord Himself will send on you curses, confusion, and frustration in everything you do, until at that last you are completely destroyed for doing evil and abandoning me. The Lord will afflict you with diseases unlike none of you are left in the land you are about to enter and occupy. The Lord will strike you with wasting diseases, fevers, and inflammation, with scorching heat and drought, and with blight and mildew. These diseases will pursue you until you die. The skies above will be as unyielding as bronze, and the earth beneath will be as hard as iron. The Lord will change the rain that falls on your land into powder, and dust will pour down from the sky until you are destroyed. Then the Lord will cause you to be defeated by your enemies. You will attack your enemies from one direction, but you will scatter from them in 7. You will be an object of horror in all the kingdoms of the earth. Your corpse will be food for all the scavenging birds and wild animals, and no one will be there to chase them away. The Lord will afflict you with the boils of Egypt, and with tumors, scurving, and the itch from which you cannot be cured. The Lord will strike you with madness, blindness, and panic. You will grope around in broad daylight like a blind person groping in the dark, but you will not find your way. You will be oppressed and robbed continually, and no one will come to save you. You will be engaged to a woman, but another man will sleep with her. You will build a house, but someone else will live in it. You will plant a vineyard, but you will never enjoy its fruit. Your ox will be butchered before your eyes, but you will not eat a single bite of the meat. Your donkey will be taken from you, never to be returned. Your sheep and goats will be given to your enemies, and no one will be there to help you. You will watch as your sons and daughters are taken away as slaves. Your heart will break for them, but you won't be able to help them. A foreign nation you have never heard about will eat the crops you work so hard to grow. You will suffer under constant oppression and hardship and harsh treatment. You will go mad because of all the tragedy you see around you. The Lord will cover your knees and legs with incurable boils. In fact, you will be covered from head to foot. The Lord will exile you and your king to a nation unknown to you and your ancestors. There in exile you will worship gods of wood and stone. You will become an object of horror, ridicule, and mockery among all the nations to which the Lord sends you. You will plant much but harvest little, for locusts will eat your crops. You will plant vineyard and care for them, but you will not drink the wine or eat the grapes, for worms will destroy the vines. You will grow olive trees throughout your land, but you will never use the olive oil, for the fruit will drop before it ripens. You will have sons and daughters, but you will lose them, for they will be led away into captives. Swarms of insects will destroy your trees and crops. The foreigners living among you will become stronger and stronger, while you become weaker and weaker. They will lend money to you, but you will not lend to them. They will be the head and you will be the tail. If you refuse to listen to the Lord your God and to obey the commands and decrees He has given you, all these curses will pursue and overtake you until you are destroyed. These horrors will serve as a sign and warning among you and your descendants forever. If you do not serve the Lord your God with joy and enthusiasm for the abundant benefit you have received, you will serve your enemies whom the Lord will send against you. You will be left hungry, thirsty, naked, and lacking in everything. The Lord will put an iron yoke on your neck and oppressing you harshly until He has destroyed you. The Lord will bring a distant nation against you from the end of the earth, and it will swoop down on you like a vulture. It is a nation whose language you do not understand, a fierce and heartless nation that shows no respect for the old and no pity for the young. Its enemies will devour your livestock and crops, and you will be destroyed. They will leave you with no grain, new wine, olive oil, calves, or lambs, and you will starve to death. They will attack your cities until all the fortified walls in your land, the walls you trusted to protect you, are knocked down. They will attack all the towns in the land the Lord your God has given you. The siege and terrible distress of the enemy's attack will be so severe that you will eat the flesh of your own sons and daughters whom the Lord your God has given you. The most tender-hearted man among you will have no compassion for his own brother, his beloved wife, his surviving children. He will refuse to share with them the flesh he is devouring, the flesh of one of his own children, because he has nothing else to eat during the siege and terrible distress that your enemies will inflict on all your towns. The most tender and dedicated woman among you, so dedicated she will not so much as touch the ground with her foot, will be selfish toward the husband she loves, and towards her own son or daughter she will hide from them the afterbirth and the new baby she has born, so that she herself can secretly eat them. She will have nothing else to eat during the siege and terrible distress that your enemy will inflict on all your towns. If you refuse to obey all the words of the instructions that are given in this book, and if you do not fear the glorious and awesome name of the Lord your God, then the Lord will overwhelm you and your children with indescribable plagues. These plagues will be intense and without relief, making you miserable and unbearably sick. He will afflict you with all the diseases of Egypt that you fear so much, and you will have no relief. The Lord will inflict you with every sickness and plague there is, even those not mentioned in the book of instruction, until you are destroyed. Though you become as numerous as the stars in the sky, few of you will be left, because you will not listen to the Lord your God. Just as the Lord has found great pleasure in casting you to prosper and multiply, the Lord will find pleasure in destroying you. You will be torn from the land you are about to enter and occupy, for the Lord will scatter you among all the nations from one end of the earth to the other. There you will worship wood and stone. There among those nations you will find no peace or place to rest your soul, and the Lord will cause your heart to tremble and your eyesight to fail and your soul to despair. Your life will consistently hang in the balance. You will live night and day in fear and ensure if you will survive. In the morning you will say, if you will be terrified by the awful horrors you see around you. Then the Lord will send you back to Egypt in ships in a destination I promise you will never see again. There you will offer to sell yourself to your enemies as slaves, but no one will buy you. These are the terms of the covenant the Lord commanded Moses to make with the Israelites while they were in the land of Moab, in addition to the covenant he has made with them in Mount Sinai. And so yeah, that's the end for today. There's nothing really much to get out of, to be honest, because it's just a lot of instructions as to why. What happens if you don't listen to God? And the interesting thing is, I realized as I was reading this, it's God never said that he would bless people who just says they follow him, says that they love him. Because you can say whatever, words are cheap, but actions are so much greater and stuff. And so if you say something, but you act in the opposite way, then why would God bless somebody who will lie about who they are? Wouldn't it be better for you just be quiet and just show people the love of God? And I felt like sometimes I can fall into the trap of like say how much I love God and things, but like do things that are like absolutely dishonoring to Him, and I have to ask Him to forgive me in times of when I've failed Him. But yeah, one of the things I listened to on Instagram that really stood out to me was like, you know, the whole thing of like, do not use the Lord your God do not use the name the Lord your God in vain, something like that. In those wordings, one of the things that really stood out to me was like, he's like I still agree. I still think you shouldn't use God's name out of context, like out of disrespect, like normalize His name. But the part that stood out to me was like he's saying like, you are mocking God. You can mock God. You can use His name in vain through your actions, through what you do. If you hate your enemies, yet you claim to love God, then you not only did you use the name Lord, not only did you use God's name in vain in words, but also in actions. And I think it's like, it's really important for us to like really be intentional about what we say, and not only that, but be able to live our lifestyle the way that we claim to be, I guess, in a sense. So like, be able to stay like a consistent. So if we claim to love God, how can we stay consistent to show the love of God to people? But yeah, that's just something that stood out to me. And then the whole part is like, wherever you go and whatever you do, you will be blessed. If you do in accordance to God, if you do the will of God, you will be blessed beyond measures. But yeah, one of the things that stood out to me about one of the curses is, curse is anyone who leads a blind person astray on the road. I feel like that's like in like a spiritual way. It's like, if I want to be a minister, to be like a to go into the ministry, I don't want to be one of those pastors that lead people astray. But yet claims to like love God, yet claims to say like, I'm an ambassador of God. Like, that's just not right. And God's like, He will curse those people because they are working for the devil, to be spreading false doctrines, to be spreading hate among other people and stuff. So yeah, other than that, I don't have anything else to share. So may you guys go and walk with God.